Okay. So, if you look at this graph, as we have told that the y axis is mobility, x axis is a temperature impurity concentration scale. Impurity concentration starts with 10 to the power of 14 per cubic centimeter all the way up to 10 to the power of 19 per cubic centimeter. The bottom plot shows for gallium arsenide. Similarly, we have a plot for germanium. Okay. So, here we have shown both electron mobility mu n and hole mobility. Lastly, the upper one is for silicon, again mobility versus impurity concentration. So, as you can see here, the impurity concentration, when if it keeps increasing, mobility keeps decreasing. Both electron mobility and hole mobility both will keep decreasing. All three plots are shown for 300 Kelvin temperature. So, these are the effects of doping on mobility. So, more the doping, the chances of the impurity scattering is very high. Probably you remember this graph I showed you last class, right? So, impurity scattering is scattering event is proportional to the 10 to the power of 3 by 2. Okay. When we fix the temperature here, even if you still keep increasing the doping, impurity scattering keep increases. When temperature is, if you look at this, temperature is increasing, at lower temperature impurity scattering effects will take place, at higher temperature lattice scattering will takes place here. So, you have to maintain moderate temperature. Okay, this graph shows you a plot of mobility versus temperature, whereas this graph shows you mobility versus doping concentration. Okay, so, as doping concentration increases, mobility decreases, okay, because of impurity scattering events keep increases and mobility decreases. Okay. Having said that, and if you let us proceed to the next topic of today's class, we are going to commence with the PN junction. This is the module uh, 2. Module 2 is the PN junction. You can see here, let us go through each and every point here what we have planned to discuss here. Okay, before that, let me show you the slide, content of this module 2. Look at this content of module 2. This contains two chapters. This first chapter is discussed here, the contents of that. 2.1 we focus on forward and reverse biased PN junction. Uh, Here we discuss the different sorts of the currents, drift current, diffusion current, with reference to both electrons and holes. We will discuss in under this topic, forward and reverse biased PN junctions. We will show even here the band diagrams also. Okay, when we club p type and n type semiconductor, how exactly the band the electron movement takes place under the n type and p type semiconductor, band bending phenomenon, those things we are going to explain under this topic. Next is the application of some voltage. When we apply a PN junction with forward and reverse voltage, we are going to discuss that. We pay attention to the reverse bias and reverse bias breakdown mechanisms. We will explain here phenomenon involved in the reverse bias and reverse bias breakdown. Particularly, we explain two different breakdown mechanisms, Zener breakdown and avalanche breakdown. These breakdowns happens in diodes. In laboratories also you might have seen these breakdowns. If you are using to plot the characteristics, you will be testing Zener diode and normal PN junction diode with different voltages. You start varying from 0.0 to say 5 volts, and you can see when we go forward direction, there is current keeps increasing. When you go in reverse direction, there will be reverse saturation current flow that will be constant. But once it exceeds breakdown, because breakdown depends, it's one of the specification given by the manufacturer. So once breakdown happens, so there is a huge surge of the current. So now you should explain the mechanisms of breakdown with different different mechanisms. So one of them is going to be Zener breakdown. So Zener breakdown happens at lower voltages. If any breakdown happens at say very low reverse breakdown voltage, that's mainly due to the Zener breakdown. Whereas avalanche breakdown happens at higher voltages, maybe say 70 volts or 75 volts, depends on the type of diode you are analyzing. Okay. Usually for Zener diode, it breakdown happens at minus 75, minus 80 volts, something in that range. Okay. We will also discuss application of the PN junction as a rectifiers. Rectifiers means a circuit which converts the AC to DC. Though this course is designed for a device perspective, but we also extend a small to the circuits also. Such circuits are nothing but rectifier circuits. We will see here how the circuit converts AC voltage to DC voltage or AC current to DC current. So, these are the topics that comes under this module 2, okay, of PN junctions. Okay, these are the various sections in the textbook prescribed for you, Benji, Streetman and Sanjay Kumar Banerjee. This textbook is soft copy of this is already uploaded in Google Classroom. Students can download that if you don't have a copy, and kindly solve the homework problems. The homework problem 3 homework given yesterday's class, and by today night you need to submit that in your Google Classroom. So that marks will be considered for that for your final internal assessment. So just solve the problem. 3 problems I have given in the last class with reference to Hall effect. Solve those problems and capture those things in your cam mobile camera, and then you can upload into the Google Classroom as an assignment. You can upload. Okay, so that will be considered for your IA. Okay, so and one quiz is pending which I will be posting you very soon. Okay, maybe this weekend you will get a quiz also related to module 1. Okay, with that let's move on to the recap the things what we have learned in module 1. Module 1 we mainly focused on semiconductors. We started with classification of semiconductors, classification of materials. Then we have seen particularly the semiconductors, intrinsic and extrinsic semiconductor. We have seen discrete energy levels, and we have seen bands also with reference to different materials. Then we have interpreted the energy band diagrams, both physical interpretation we have done, and we also explained mathematical equations related to the conductivity, resistivity, resistance, all those things. Okay, so that's the things what we covered in the previous module. Okay. Current module focuses on the PN junctions. The real application of module 1 can be seen in module 2. Okay, so you sometimes without knowing you need to study in module 1 the topics, but the real applications you will see in the module 2. Okay, so let's look at few objectives of this module. So we are going to again start with the band diagrams related to the PN junction, and we will see that applying electric field, what changes happens in the band diagram. That's the first objective. We also determine current flow in a semiconductor PN junction, normal PN junction diode, and we apply reverse bias even in PN junction and see the consequence of that, and we will extend to the application like rectifiers. We also discuss the different capacitance that comes under PN junction, depletion and diffusion capacitance. Okay, so finally this module will end up with second order effects like high level injection, generation, recombination in the depletion region, along with different sorts of junction. Okay, abrupt junction, the step graded junction, different sorts of PN junctions we are going to discuss in this module. Okay, let's now introduce before I move on to the topic, I just want to ask you that which are the applications you have seen with reference to PN junction. Can you name few applications where exactly PN junction or diode is used?
Photodiode.
Photodiode, exactly.
LED.
Light emitting diode, yes, exactly correct.
Optocoupler.
Yeah.
Etc.
Okay, so very good. So those are the two major applications. What you have seen is light emitting diodes. So we use diodes in light emitting diodes. We use PN junction even in the analysis to analyze the devices like PJT. We use PN junction theory concept only. In order to understand the high-end devices like the FETs, field effect transistors, we use PN junction theory. When it comes to applications, we use PN junctions in LEDs, lasers, photodiodes, photodetectors. That n number of applications are there. Okay, and if you see the diodes also can be used in microwave applications. Have you come across any such microwave applications where diodes are used? Gun diode, have you come across gun diode, which is used mainly in communications, microwave communication to transmit signals. We use gun diode. There are variety of microwave devices, diodes. Have you come across Schottky diode, a diode with semiconductor and metal? There you don't see PN junction as you are seeing here. In case of Schottky diode, you see one is P type semiconductor, other will be the metal. So those type of PN junctions are called as a Schottky diodes, and different applications we use Schottky diodes. Okay, now let us come back to this. How do you make these sort of materials, PN junctions? General theory is we say that take separate materials of P and N type semiconductor materials can be taken, and if you combine together, okay, that if you are brought together, that forms a PN junction. Is it correct? In real uh, way, we make PN junctions in this sort? But theory says that yes, you need to take when separate materials of P and N type semiconductor are brought together, it forms a PN junction. Can we make diodes something like this by clubbing two P type semiconductors? Will it form a PN junction? Any answers? What happens if I club these two semiconductor materials? You assume that there are two distinct uh, materials, one is P type and another one is N type. What happens if I club this? Will it form a PN junction?
No, sir.
What may be the problem we encounter when we bring two PN junctions close to together? Okay, the problem is when you bring these two, as the theory says that the different materials of P and N type, when you brought together, that forms a PN junction. But exact interfaces what you see, it's very difficult to make, okay, as you see in real diode. Therefore, the theory says that you should club these together, combine these together to make a PN junction. But in reality, we don't make PN junctions like that. What we will do is we will take a P type semiconductor material and we are going to diffuse with N type of material into this. That forms a PN junction. Or you can take N type semiconductor material, diffuse this N type semiconductor with P type semiconductor material. P type means you can diffuse with boron, any trivalent impurity elements. You can diffuse to this N type semiconductor, that forms a PN junction. And if you have a P type semiconductor material here, just diffuse with elements like impurity elements like phosphorus, okay, arsenic. So those kind of elements will form the N type semiconductor, N type in this. So you are making P type, part of the P type as an N type, part of the N type as an P type. So that makes the PN junction. So the theory says that we are clubbing P and N type to make a PN junction. That's not real, but the reality is this, as I told you, that we are going to diffuse N type to P type semiconductor material or P type to N type semiconductor material. When we diffuse here, that forms a PN junction. Okay. So it can be NP junction or it can be PN junction. In either way, we can make a diode PN junction. PN junction is also called as a diode. Diode means it has got two terminals. When we club these two and we can attach terminal to one of the semiconductors, say P type, it forms one terminal. Another terminal we can attach to N type. So this forms the diode. Di means it is a two terminals this device has got. Okay, it's a one-way device. Current can flow only from P to N. It cannot flow reverse. So this device blocks current in opposite direction. It allows current only in one direction. Okay. So that's why this is a PN junction or diode, which you can make it by diffusing N and P type semiconductor materials to this. Okay. So most semiconductor device contain at least one junction between P type and N type material. You consider any semiconductor devices, it will have at least one PN junction, okay, in that device. Example, if you take the transistor, it has got two PN junction. You might have studied device like SCR, silicon controlled rectifier. It has got three junctions. 4 layers PN. Like that, there are different semiconductor devices, and there is a unijunction transistor also. There is only one junction, a transistor. Okay, you analyze, you study, look at any semiconductor device. At least semiconductor device should have one PN junction. Okay, the simplest one is diode, which has got only one PN junction. The PN junctions are fundamental to the performance of functions such as, when you want to develop, the functions or operations such as rectification. Rectification means AC to DC conversion. Amplification, when you want to strengthen the weak signal, we can use PN junction as an amplifier also. And we can use PN junction in switching functions also. When you want to make electronic switch, fast electronic switch, which switches at the rate of, the electronic speed, then you can use PN junction. And also there are variety of operations in electronic circuits where we can use PN junctions. So in all these applications like rectification, amplification, switching operations, we use PN junctions. So in this module we shall discuss equilibrium state of the junction and flow of electrons and holes across a junction under steady state and transient conditions. What do we mean by steady state and transient conditions? So here we mainly
Steady state at room temperature.
steady state, its room temperature. Okay, what about transient conditions? What do we mean by transient conditions? Have you come across transient? Yeah, anybody?
When the voltage source is applied across the junction.
Yeah, voltage source we are going to apply at different times actually. Okay, example, it may be the sinusoidal wave, or you can say a ramp wave. When we apply those kind of, the transient conditions, you can also analyze the working of, this PN junction under applying some kind of, the functions like that. That's the transient conditions. We are going to check the performance of device under different temperature conditions, okay, and different, the doping conditions, those things we are going to analyze here. Those are called transient conditions here. When we change the functionality, so that's called as a transient conditions here. Okay, we are analyzing not only in equilibrium state. Equilibrium means without applying any potential. Okay, and the steady state at room temperature, and even transient at different voltages. So we will look out the working, of this PN junction at different conditions. Okay, so now let us start looking into the equilibrium conditions. Equilibrium means we are not applying any voltage, external source is not applied. Okay, then we are taking PN junction. As I told you, to make PN junction, just you need to diffuse N type to P type semiconductor, or P type semiconductor can be diffused into N type base semiconductor material, that forms a PN junction. Now let us assume that you have a PN junction with you without applying external voltage or current. Let us analyze the device under equilibrium conditions. Okay, equilibrium means at room temperature we are not applying any external voltage source. So now uniformly doped P type semiconductor is put in intimate contact with the similarly doped N type semiconductor, that forms a PN junction. Now let us see in detail what happens in a PN junction under equilibrium conditions. Holes will diffuse. Have you come across the term called as a diffusion?
Movement across the concentration gradient.
Movement? Can you repeat it once? Yes.
Across the concentration gradient.
Exactly. Movement, with different concentration gradient. Okay, probably you might have studied in pre-university molecule movement, osmosis process, you know that, where the water molecules used to move from higher region of concentration to a lower region of concentration. Okay, the similar thing is applicable even in case of PN junctions as well. So that means when we have a PN junction with us, okay, you know that P type semiconductor, in this it's made up of majority charge carriers or holes. Okay, how do we get lot many holes here? Because you are doped with trivalent impurities, right? Can you give example of trivalent impurities? Any example?
Boron.
Boron is the best example. So, if you dope it with the boron to the intrinsic semiconductor, a pure semiconductor, what happens in the energy band diagram? We have seen that already, right? You are going to create a state in the forbidden region where it has got lot of empty states, right? So, that makes the p type semiconductor. How about n type semiconductor? We are going to dope this n type semiconductor with trivalent impurity. That is not trivalent, pentavalent impurity. What is the example for pentavalent? Phosphorus. Phosphorus is the best example for pentavalent impurity. If you dope intrinsic semiconductor with pentavalent impurity, what happens in this with reference to energy band diagram? Just recall the energy band diagram. So, probably last class we have, let us not yeah, you can see this energy band diagram, n type and p type semiconductor materials. So, can you see this? This is donor impurities. You can see here, these are n type semiconductor materials. So, we have a valence band here, which is completely the filled with electrons here, and the impurity element, column 5 elements, if you add, it is going to create a state here. It's going to create an electrons in the forbidden region here. This is energy band structure we are analyzing at 0 Kelvin. Now, as temperature increases, what will happen to this energy electrons, extra electron which we have created by doping? Those electrons keep moving into the empty states which are available in the conduction band. So, you can see the arrow mark here is showing that electrons, because of donor impurities as donated electrons, ED means it is a donor energy level, they donated electrons here. So, this is an n type semiconductor, energy band diagram of an n type semiconductor. Even if you apply external force here, these electrons are readily available which are close to the conduction band. So, they get excited and move into the conduction band. There are lot of empty states here in the conduction band. So, the electrons can move freely in the conduction band, and that means they conduct electricity current. So, this is n type semiconductor. Look at the p type semiconductor. Here the bottom one indicates the rightmost, this is for the p type semiconductor. By doping this intrinsic materials with trivalent impurity, you are creating an empty state here. You can see that ED, it's EA, it's not ED, it's EA, acceptor energy level. That means you are creating lot of empty states here at 0 Kelvin, you can see here. When temperature rises, these electrons will tend to get filled. They can see in the vicinity of that there are a lot of empty states created by trivalent impurities. So, therefore, electrons can easily move to these empty states, and therefore, the holes will result in the valence band here. So, these type of semiconductor material, this is the energy band structure of p type semiconductor material, and this is an energy band structure of n type semiconductor material. Now, let me go back to the p-n junctions what we are discussing. Now, you can see here, this you can visualize. So, now holes will start diffuse from, now p type is, p side is made up of holes, it is majority charge carriers. Holes will diffuse from p side to n side, because they are minor in number in the n side. Electrons will start diffusing in opposite direction, they diffuse from n side to p side. Let us see what happens into the p side when holes keep moving from p side to n side. What will happen in the region in the p side? So, what is left out is a negatively charged acceptor is left behind after the hole leaves its position. So, these are all immobile charge carriers, immobile or depleted charge carriers here. So, when in the p side when the hole leaves its position, it creates negatively charged acceptor or immobile charge carrier or depleted charge on the p side. Since it has hole has been given to the moved to the n side, so this has become now negatively charged. So, the negative charge you can see on the p side here. And if you see n side, in n side electrons are majority charge carriers. Okay. So, electrons keep moving from n side to p side, and here they leave behind when the when the electron keeps leave its position, it creates an empty or hole here in this position. So, these holes are nothing but they are, since they donated electron, they have become positively charged ions or immobile ions, are depleted positively charged the ion here. Okay. So, on n side you are seeing a positively charged donor is left behind after electron leaves its position. So, net positive charge can be seen on the n side. So, in conclusion, once electron leaves this the positions here at the vicinity of the junction, so net positive charge can be seen here, positive depleted charge or positive the donor ions can be seen here, and negative here acceptor ions can be seen here. Okay. So, this is what the point number 2 and point number 3 says that. Okay. Also look at this, an electric field is created pointing from n side to p side. As I already told you that when the charges, because of difference in concentration gradient, electrons are moving from n to p, holes move from p to n, they create positive donor ion here, negative donor ions are created here. This positive donor ion on the n side, negative donor ion on the p side creates an electric field here. Remember that we are not applying any potential, we are discussing under equilibrium condition. Okay. Because of the positive donor ion on n side, negative acceptor ion on the p side, these ions creates an electric field. And also I told you that they are immobile charge carriers. Okay. Because of electron left its position, okay, all these the ions, donor ions are positively charged. Since holes has left this position here, all this the acceptor ions are negatively charged. So, positive ion on the n side, negative ion on the p side, they form an electric field, and this electric field is pointing from n side to the p side. Clear? Okay. Let me show here, this is what I am telling in the point number 4. See these ions here, negatively charged acceptor ion on the p side, positively charged donor ion on the n side, this creates an electric field which is pointing from n side to p side. Finally, diffusive fluxes due to concentration gradient is balanced by drift fluxes due to the electric field. What do you mean by this? Earlier what you have seen is diffusion current movement in the beginning. Next what you will see is drift current, also you will see a role. What causes the drift current?
Minority charge.
Electric field, because we said that the n type charge carrier here you are seeing here positively charged the donor ions, negatively charged donor ions can be seen on the p side. This creates an electric field pointing from n to p. There is an electric field here which is pointing from n to p, and this electric field causes majority charge carriers to move. Okay. I mean the holes will keep moving from p side to n side, and electrons will keep moving from n side to p side. Okay. Because here the negative ions here, acceptor ions will be in a position to attract electrons from here, and here the donor ions here will attract holes from this place here. That means the electric field creates again current called as a drift current. In the very beginning you have seen the diffusion current, because there is a concentration gradient of electrons which are majority here, they are minority here, holes which are majority here, they are minority here. Due to the concentration gradient you have seen diffusion current. Can you tell me the direction of diffusion current here? Which side the diffusion current is flowing? See, electron keep flowing from n side to p side, because electrons are p to n exactly. So, diffusion current flows from p to n. May I know the reason why it exactly flows from p to n?
Sir, conventionally the current direction is opposite to the flow of
Exactly. Yes. The electrons flow, current flow is going to be opposite in nature. So here, because of the concentration gradient, electrons from n side they keep moving to the p side, and holes from p side will move to the n side because they are minority number here. Okay. So that becomes, the whole moment is nothing but the current flow. Or another way, as you said, electron movement, opposite of that will be the current flow. So therefore, current flows from diffusion current, I am telling. So diffusion current flows from p side to n side. Students, I once again reiterate this. Try to understand this current flow mechanism, current flow directions. This is very important in this, the subject in this module, because entire subject deals with directions of current. And as we already told that there are two types of current will be flowing in the PN junction. The first one is diffusion current, next is drift current. Diffusion current is the current that is flowing because of the concentration gradient. When there are, when there is a change in the concentration, so charge flow will takes place either from N to P or P to N. That causes diffusion current. The other current what we said is drift current. Drift current is because of the applied force, external force. Okay, if the applied force exists, because of the applied force, if the charges are moving, that current is called as a drift current. Now here, because of change in the concentration gradient, in the beginning, electrons will move from N to P, holes will move from P to N, that causes diffusion current. And diffusion current is in the direction of P to N. And I told you that as electron keep moving from N side to P side, they leave here donor ions, positive donor ions here. When holes from the p side leave and occupy the electron here, they leave here negative ions here. So negative ions on the p side, positive ions on the n side, they create an electric field, and electric field is pointing from n to p. Okay, electric field is pointing from n to p. This electric field causes now drift current. Now can you tell me the direction of drift current?
Opposite to the first one, sir.
Yes, opposite to the first one, opposite to the diffusion current. We said that diffusion current is flowing from P to N. Now drift current will flow from N to P. Now in equilibrium condition, what happens? Look at here, one type of current, diffusion current, is flowing from P to N. Drift current is flowing from N to P. These two currents will cancel each other. What is the net current in the equilibrium condition? 0. Clear? So both currents will cancel each other. Diffusion current, drift current, they cancel each other, and net current under equilibrium condition is going to be 0. Okay. Now let us see the same thing with the energy band diagram. Okay, look at this. Okay, here you are seeing here P semiconductor material and N type semiconductor material. Isolated, the materials you are seeing here, and below that you are seeing energy diagram here. Okay. EV indicates its valence band energy level. We are showing the top energy level of the valence band, conduction band energy level EC, and you can see there is a Fermi level here. Can anybody tell me what do we mean by Fermi level? What do we mean by Fermi level? Look at here, Fermi level for p type, it is close to the valence band, and Fermi level for the n side is it's close to the conduction band. Okay. Now my question to you is, yeah, go ahead.
The electrons which are above the Fermi level can be able to conduct.
Exactly,
Can
correct.
be able to participate in conduction.
Exactly. So the Fermi level will tell you the electrons. Okay, so Fermi level here, electrons whatever you see here above this Fermi level, they are able to conduct. They can easily move to the conduction band. They can move directly into the conduction band here. Understand here? Okay, so the Fermi level will tell you the electron levels, the concentration here. Okay, so therefore for n type, electron concentration is, electron are very large in number, therefore Fermi level is close to the conduction band here. Whereas in p side you can see that you find less number of electrons here in this, and you can see more number of empty states here, therefore Fermi level is close to the valence band here. You need to understand these Fermi levels for both p and n separately, because these Fermi levels will help us in understanding p-n junction. Here we are seeing, you are seeing p and n type material distinctly. Okay, when we club them together, what is going to happen? Anybody can guess? What will happen to the energy band diagram when we plug this p and n type semiconductor material?
There will be no electrons conduction.
What will happen to this energy level EF, EC, and EV for the n type and for the p type? Any guesses?
Sir, it will come at half of the
Yes, this Fermi level will get aligned. Fermi level will get aligned. You can see that. Next diagram will show that. I think that's a. Yeah, you can see here the way the band bending has happened here. The conduction band, you can see that here. This is what distinct energy bands we have shown to you, right? For the p type and n type semiconductor material before contact. But see, after contact, what happened? Any idea after contact what you are seeing at the bottom? Which has been aligned here? Fermi level you can see here. The Fermi level has been, you can see here, it has been raised. This layers EC, EV, EF and EV, the distance between them remains same here also, right? Do you see any distance difference here after contact?
no, sir.
And look at n side here, there is no distance difference here also. Both distance are same. But now what happened when you plug this n type and p type the contacts. So the electrons are readily available here in the conduction band. They start moving through this empty state here, okay, in the conduction band of the p type, and that field that has raised the Fermi level above. That means this Fermi level EF what you are seeing here along with EV, it has been raised because electrons number has been raised. Electrons start moving from free electrons, they start moving from n side to p side, and due to that the Fermi level has been raised. When this Fermi level get aligns with this, okay, this energy, this EC moves above. That's why you see this the Fermi level when it moves to this level, okay, you can see here the Fermi level has been aligned here, whereas this distance remains almost constant whatever you have seen before the contact. Okay, so this is what the energy band diagram for the p-n junction. Okay, so with that, let's move to the previous things what we have said here. So this is what we were discussing here. We said about when you make when you want to make a p-n junction, just you can bring these two close to together, and we have discussed about diffusion and drift current here, and we have seen energy band diagrams individually here before contact, and we have seen after the contact what happened. The Fermi level get aligned because electrons here they keep moving to from n side to the p side, and the Fermi level has raised here. Fermi level get aligned to this Fermi level. So therefore this goes down, this remains here, this goes up actually, because this electrons are going to fill this empty positions here. So therefore electron level has been filled here, electron occupied these positions, therefore this Fermi level has been raised here. So therefore once Fermi level get aligned here, that forms a that you can see Fermi level gets aligned, and therefore band bending happens here. Okay, now let us see this here p-n junction. Before jumping to this, let me show here. Look at this. The previous concept what I explained about diffusion and drift current, it is very clear in this diagram here. So this diagram will tell you about the p-n junction. There is a p type semiconductor. Okay, you can see here. There is a dotted lines you can see here. Beyond this you can see that there is a neutral region here, and there is again here neutral region here. What is neutral region? What do we mean by neutral? Why do we say it is a neutral here?
Net charge is 0.
Yeah, net charge, because the amount of see electrons moving to this side and holes moving to the other side is going to be equal. We say that the process like generation and recombination. Have you come across this word generation, recombination? That will be generation means the it's actually the production, the electrons generation, electron production. Recombination means electron occupying the hole, that is called recombination. In this region, what you are seeing beyond this dotted line, generation and recombination will be equal in number. Therefore, the whole material will be neutral. Same thing happens in the left side also. There is a generation and generation of charge carriers, I mean the electrons and holes. Recombination is also same. Therefore, the material remains neutral here. Now, let us see within this dotted line what is going to happen. And you can see here we have shown here the silicon atoms. This is made up of the many silicon atoms here, but only few have one a few silicon atoms has been shown here. Okay. So, this form this this line indicates there is a covalent bond forming. You can see there is an impurity element, arsenic has been chosen. This is nucleus of arsenic, which is positively charged because it has donated electron. This blue color dot shows an electron donated by this impurity element arsenic. Arsenic is column 5 element of periodic table, and it is pentavalent. So, out of this outermost 5 electron, 4 have been formed here covalent bonding. This line shows that it has formed with adjacent silicon atom, covalent bond with adjacent silicon atoms, and since it has one extra electron here, that forms a free electron here. So, this is in the conduction band. Okay. Like that we have shown for one particular group. Like this, there are many silicon atoms you can see and many impurity atoms you can see in this n type material. That means in general you can see more number of electrons in this n type semiconductor. Okay. And similar thing will you can also see on other side, p type semiconductor. In the p type semiconductor we have shown trivalent impurity element like boron. So, boron is trivalent, which is column 3 element of periodic table, and this complete nucleus is negatively charged because it has donated hole, okay, positive charge. Okay, therefore, this has become negative charge. Likewise, here this arsenic has donated electron and the nucleus of arsenic is positively charged. So, you can see here there is an empty position here. This boron element it forms covalent bond with the 3 silicon adjacent silicon elements, and one since it is empty, there is no electron to form here covalent bond with this silicon. Therefore, this position is empty. So, it has given the hole here. So, this has become negatively charged. Okay. So, now here you can see that there in this complete p type material you can see this type of holes as many as possible, and in complete n type material you will see these electrons in the conduction band as many as possible. The holes will be in the valence band, of course. Now, what happens at the equilibrium condition? The electrons which you are seeing here, this electron will diffuse from n side to the p side. Okay. When electron leaves this position, it leaves here. When electron leaves its position, this position is now will be positively charged ion. This is called as a donor ion, because this has donated electron. Electron has moved, left its position, and this has become immobile positive ion. Likewise, here also hole, okay, which get diffused from region of higher concentration. You can see the lot many holes are here. Suppose if this hole leaves its, because some electron occupies this position, let us say this hole has left its position and moved to the n side. This creates the immobile negative ion here, or you can say depleted negative ion here. Okay. Like this, if all electrons from n side keep moving to the p side, okay, on the n side you will see this is depleted positive ions, immobile positive ions. On p side you will see depleted immobile negative ions. Okay. So, depleted immobile negative ions, positive ions on the n side, depleted immobile negative ions on the p side, they create electric field. Okay. This electric field between n and p type causes the drift current. Okay. Drift current in the sense the holes will keep moving from n side to p side, electron will keep moving from n side, p side to n side here. Okay. So, this arrow mark shows that hole is leaving its position, and this arrow mark shows that electron is leaving its position from n side to p side. So, this is actually diffusion of charge carriers. Net direction of diffusion current is from p to n, because the whole moment is considered as current movement, or opposite of electron movement is considered as current flow. Okay. So, therefore, diffusion current flows from p side to n side. Okay. The immobile positive ions on n side, negative ion on p side, okay, they attract the electron from the the p side to n side, holes from n side to p side, and the direction of current is from n side to p side. So, drift current flows from n side to p side, diffusion current flows from p side to n side. Okay. Any questions so far?
Sir, one doubt, sir.
Yeah,
Sir, that means this drift current is there, no, sir?
exactly.
That is due to this minority charge carriers, sir.
Yeah. If you look at this diagram, could you see this diagram now? Look at this is the top, this n type semiconductor. You can see this blue color dots shows that they are electrons, and this white color dots here shows it is hole. This is initial. Diffusion will happen now. After diffusion, you can see that electrons from n side, they keep moving to the p side. You can see there are blue color dots getting filled here, and also see oppositely the white dots here, they start moving from p side to n side. You can see few whites here, right, white dots. Okay. This is called diffusion. So, diffusion current direction is p side to n side, because diffusion of holes happens from p to n, diffusion of electron happens from n to p, diffusion current flows from p to n. Now, coming to the other thing, drift current, what you are asking, when electron leaves its position from n side to p side, they leave here immobile charge carriers, right. That is what it is shown here, red color. The red color is nothing but electron has left its position here from this, and they have created here a positive immobile donor ions here. You can see all this red color is positive immobile donor ions, and you can see on the other side, p side, since hole has left its position, they have moved from p side to n side. These holes have created at the vicinity of the junction, it has created negative immobile ions or depleted charges here. Now, this is going to create an electric field now. Immobile charge carriers, that is positive immobile charge carriers on the n side, or donor ions on the n side, acceptor ions on the p side. It's going, these ions are going to create an electric field. And look at electric field direction, it is from n side to p side. Okay. Now, this electric field will cause the current movement. What current it will cause? It will cause drift current. Now, you can see here this, as I told you, these are positive ions. These positive ions will attract electrons, minority carriers, which are nothing but electrons from the p side to n side. And these the negative ions will attract holes from n side to p side. Now, can you tell me direction of the drift current?
Will be opposite, sir. To that,
Yes, yes, it will be from n side to p side. Okay. Diffusion current is from p to n, drift current is from n to p. Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, these current directions we will discuss in next class. I think with that I will stop at this point. I hope today we have made it clear about this p-n junction, the energy band diagram, the band bending we have shown here. Okay. The band, this is what we have discussed here, both type of the currents, and we also discussed about this band bending, Fermi levels alignment, and what happens when these two p-n junctions when it is clubbed together, we have seen with reference to energy diagram. So, next class we will discuss about the current directions, actual current directions, especially diffusion current and drift current directions here. So, with that I will stop at this point. So, I will pass on attendance sheet, you kindly enter your details in the attendance sheet. So, thank you all for watching, for attending my class.